All right. Hey, welcome back to the Go for CEO channel. This is your guy here, John the Bomb. Building others means business. And pretty cool when I can also bring in not only CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, but intrapreneurs. I love this story because, when you are working for someone, there is still a sense of ownership. There is still a sense of branding. There is still something that you have to do to differentiate yourself even within a company, right? The big companies out there, there's always leaders that step up to the plate. And in small to medium-sized businesses, you need people that are intrapreneurs as well. So today we have Benjamin Dach, gentleman who is an attorney at law working under the Weiss and Aaron's at law firm, and excited to have him on because he's in a little bit of a space that's pretty cool where you can be an inventor, you can be a creator, and patent law is pretty darn interesting. We're going to make it interesting today, so stay tuned. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I don't say that enough. We've crossed over 400 subscribers, heading to 1,000 subscribers soon, and be a part of the community with Go for CEO. So Benjamin Dach, thanks for coming on to the Go for CEO channel. How are you?
Doing great, John. Thank you. How are you today?
Good. Awesome to hear that, this is also your maiden voyage. You told me offline that this is your first podcast, so I'm excited to be the one to be able to bring you on and share a platform. So we're excited to hear your entrepreneur journey and what's going on with what you're doing and how you're helping clients. So tell us a little bit about, I guess, how you got started, like what made you become an attorney? What was some of the passion? Did you have some family in the background? What's a little bit of that story to start with?
Yeah, so I never wanted to be an attorney as a child growing up. I kind of wanted to be like an astronaut or something cool like that. But that got me interested in science, and I've been like more of a science geek than anything throughout my life. I've always been interested in chemistry, tinkering around in the lab. When I was a kid, I had those little chemistry sets, and I would use those to like create new materials, new chemicals, and that was really neat to me. So I went deep down into the technical chemistry world, and I actually got my Ph.D. in chemistry.
Oh, wow.
And that was my first sort of stepping stone. My goal has always been to just explore more and help others through my exploration. And during my PhD in chemistry, I started to potentially try to patent my own work. And then that opened up the world to patent law to me, and I didn't know anything about it beforehand. So from there, I audited a class at Columbia University, a law school class, really great class. It was a patent law class specifically. And that's where I learned about all of this stuff. I really, as we go through our lives, we focus on specific subjects, perhaps. So I just kept going and going and going, and I enjoy science, law, and business. I enjoy the three of them come together in patent law. So I've been doing this for now 12 years, and it's just a lot of fun. I see a lot of cool technologies, a lot of cool inventions, the most, you might say, maybe out there, maybe critical to the scientific revolution that's coming. For example, things that are very exciting that people are getting interested in. All the technology ranging from computers now to chemicals to medical, pharmaceuticals, and health and wellness technology as well, because that's the direction things are going, is less from, let's say, like the small molecule idea to like treating a person as a holistic whole. And that's the goal, is to really help people through innovation. As a patent attorney, I'm able to do that, and it's a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, many of us are lost in that space, right? Sometimes, and I think this is what the Go for CEO channel is about. In some sense, you take in that journey, that ideation, that passion, and you humbly said it. You said PhD, which is no easy task. So, kudos to you to get to that academic level, and then be able to kind of plot your way and find a rhythm in how you want to operate in your life. So, really neat. So, have you been at Weiss and Aaron's from the beginning, or tell us a little bit about kind of how you got started, who recruited you, or did you kind of put the feelers out? How did you become an entrepreneur? That's what we want to hear.
Sure. So really, it started 12 years ago after I exited, let's say, academia and entered law firm life. I
Mm,
got my first job, my first gig at it was a firm called Frommer Lawrence and Haug at the time. We called it FLH for short. Uh, and it was in Manhattan, 57th and Fifth Avenue. Great
mm,
little spot. And that's where I got my start in just the field at large in general, and really patent law as a profession. That's where I got my sort of my baseline foundation. It was critical, but it's been a journey to Weiss and Aaron's. So I've been through um, a number of firms during the pandemic. I sort of went from a few firms. I worked at Quinn Emanuel, Wilmer Hale, and Loeb and Loeb,
mm.
and fantastic firms, and all in Manhattan based. And part of my personal journey is I've been able to now move back to South Florida, where I'm from originally, and practice from here. And I now have the Florida bar, New York, and New Jersey. So I'm sort of like triangulating here, and it's a lot of fun. It's been a journey. Listen, taking the Florida bar, by the way, is a special, unique thing. So kudos to that process. It's very important. These are important stepping stones, all of them, and they make us who we are, John. Each and every one of our experiences. So that's the way I look at it. They're all stepping stones. And now I've been at Weiss and Aaron's for over a year now. I'm a partner now in the firm, and we specialize in. So yeah, to your point about differentiation, we specialize in very detailed patent work, very high level patent work.
Mm.
We pride ourselves on professionalism, integrity, and just attention to detail, really. And there's no stone is left unturned. We are we are on point. That's our differentiation is our technical skills, our work experience is unparalleled, and we have a very strong work ethic, to your point, as to this is the passion and the drive that we bring is pure, and it's for the sake of the client, innovation, and the world.
Yeah, you're making some changes, right? You're part of evolution and things that are happening, so you get to see it up front. Tell me about, I guess, when you switched over those multiple law firms, was there anything that stuck out? Because as an entrepreneur, you're building your muscle of leadership. You're building your muscle of marketing yourself and branding. You're building and it's all within a company. So it's a company within a company. And that's what we like to interview entrepreneurs because, you know, every firm, every company, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, as awesome as he is, couldn't have built Amazon without another, 100 entrepreneur type guys and gals, right? So tell us, what are some nuggets that you've been able to build up and getting you to this point where, as far as your mentality of why even you're on this podcast, right? Like you're taking ownership of driving business and of putting yourself out there to market yourself.
Thanks, John. There were numerous moments throughout my career that were critical to who I am today and my success. Throughout each stage, including the PhD, it didn't start in the law firm. So all of this began early on, even in college. It's a work ethic mentality that I've maintained, and being a self-starter, a self-promoter, not necessarily staying silent during the meeting, adding value,
Mm,
speaking about important things that push forward and promote and add to the bottom dollar, which is what people need. So for example, throughout my career, I've saved my clients, and it's not a joke, but billions of dollars. And
wow.
I say that with humility because I was given the privilege to work on these big cases, and I was given the privilege to then use my knowledge and expertise to move forward in a way and move certain cases forward in a way that would then win the day. And that happened really at each and every step of the way in every single firm. And I value each of those experiences because each one I saw a different client, a different method of working, a different mentality. So now I have a very holistic view of so many different angles. And as we know, it's all about perspective and angle. So especially in law, and especially when you're dealing with words and language, which is what patent law is and most of law is all about, because that's how we understand things. And
Hmm.
that brings us to the podcast. That's why we're talking. And this is a lot of fun. I'm having the best time. So thanks again. And just to your point, as an entrepreneur, I love kind of growing myself within the company. Now the company provides a huge lever because the company already has a name, has the clout, has a presence, and in the marketplace, for example. So as an entrepreneur, you're able to build within that brand. So it's like a brand within a brand. And at this point, my goal is to reflect positively on the field, on the brand, and especially on my own name. And my goal is when you think of an IP attorney, when you think I need an attorney for a copyright, trademark, or patent, I hope that Benjamin Dash would my name would be on the Rolodex. That's my hope.
Nice, nice. And look, and that's the attitude you have to have, right? That mindset of driving a business within the business. Because ultimately, you don't know where the future could be, and what opportunities may come up, right? Where hopefully the partnership keeps on growing, right? But there's always, I guess I call it maneuverability, right? In your life. And, the number one client is in your mind to be able to then portray that to the clients outside of it and to build a firm that's unique, that's passionate, that's building, and that's awesome that you're bringing that type of value. So you brought up something earlier where you said that you were vocal, right? I think as an entrepreneur, true leaders, if you study them, the big leaders never want just yes men or yes women around them. They want people to challenge the norm. They want to be able to hear different ideas, the true leaders. So it's interesting that you brought up that you were vocal throughout your journey and throughout your career. Tell us a little bit about that, of your comfort level, maybe growing into being more vocal. Was there a couple times where maybe you got pushed back, or a couple times where you were encouraged and said, hey, Benjamin, come to the side here. I want to share with you what you said in the meeting was awesome. Thanks for the input. Thanks for not being quiet. Can you tell us a little bit about more of that aspect of you being vocal and an entrepreneur inside of a company?
Sure, John, absolutely. So I could think of one occasion comes to mind particularly fondly. I was working at the first firm, FLH, and there was a very serious meeting as to how are we going to move forward strategy wise on the case. And the partner on the case, who is a big partner in the firm, um, wanted to go in one direction, and I spoke up, there are very specific scientific reasons that I saw that should lead the case in another direction. And for the most part, I wouldn't have spoken up because I'm very reserved usually, but in a time of need, and in that case, I spoke up, and it was taken well. And they directed the case in another direction, and they ended up winning that case. So it was a positive result in that regard. That was just one particular example of me kind of reserving myself for that moment and speaking at the right time, because you don't want to be the boy who cries wolf. If you're always kind of speaking, there is a phrase that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but at the same time, right, you want to you want to give over the important information at the critical time. That's huge in anything in law, especially litigation. which is what I've been involved with for a lot of my career. Now I do everything. I do prosecution, diligence, and litigation,
Mm.
and we have a lot of fun with all of it. But there are times, John, when people push back, and sometimes it's been smoother. Sometimes it's been a little bit more of a maybe adversarial type of thing. But always, I have a good intent. Always, it's the good side on me, and that I want everybody to win and succeed. That's the master negotiator, is somebody who knows that there could be a win-win, and that's when everybody wins, right? So so that's the message that I want to convey to you, is that I've been in specific circumstances when I was able to do that, and that's been mission critical to my success.
I love it. Yeah, inside of a firm, right, you're always going to develop the A's, the B's, the C's, right, personalities as an example, and knowing when to slot yourself, even if you're a B actor, how to step up to be an A, right, at critical times, which is what you described, right, making sure that your voice is heard. It's not just wishy-washy, right, or it's not just to say something. It's more when you're very convicted, right, per se, to be able to share some. So that's pretty awesome. Tell us a little bit about how the journey's been with the client side. I'm always very interested in seeing what a client journey looks like for different industries. So when a client first engages with you, and I'm sure it's changed throughout the years, maybe just from the size of client that you have, or you talked about different industries that you've been able to service, and now you actually are on the three prongs of law with the diligence and the prosecution and all that good stuff. So tell us just maybe an example or two of a client right now over the last few years that what does it look like for them to engage with you initially and then start the process to be able to go with you guys at Weiss and Ahrens?
Great question. So when a client reaches out, it's we take in all of their information, and we discuss their need, whatever it may be, and we look at them, their issues very holistically, very like broadly, and then specifically and narrowly, and we give them all the attention. Even a potential client, we give them uh, serious attention, and it's a matter of when clients reach out, we respond immediately. We do not wait. We do not. We're very, very responsive and responsible and professional, and we pride ourselves on these ideologies, on these ideas. Um, the highest thing we could do is good customer service, great customer service, and that means being very attentive to specific needs, and even being kind of beyond knowing what the client needs or wants, even without the client knowing. So thinking about it from a very business like perspective, and distilling the issues down to a lot of times dollars and cents. So
Mhm.
financially, how are we adding to your bottom dollar? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I went back and I said, I've saved my clients billions of dollars in the past. And it's because of patents, and it's because of trademarks, and it's because of copyrights that I've managed to protect and procure portfolios for our clients. So when a client reaches out and wants something, wants to sign us and do patent work, copyright work, trademark work, it's such a fun experience, because every experience is new, and every case and every idea is unique and specific, and we get to just open up a world of fun and interest, and then finally, again, going back, win-win, adding tremendous value to both them, the marketplace, and just generally the innovation spirit. Just that's how we boost the innovation around us that enables such beautiful things as Zoom calls, and of course we have tremendous technology just bubbling at the surface. We all know, but it's just exciting. It's to me that's sort of part of the most exciting part about the job.
Interesting. So I know that you're in a field that, has, I don't know what else to call it, but maybe some secrecy, right? Some anonymity, right? Some things that you have to be careful of without sharing, because one client may be close to developing something that another client comes in and you're like, oh wow, you're seeing like the inside scoop of these things. So in your industry, is it always common practice to, I don't know, something as strong as an NDA, or something that, obviously you got the client attorney privilege type stuff, but tell us about that side of things, because I think it's interesting from an outside perspective to know, if I have a patent, something that I've just worked my butt off, and I reach out to you, how do I make sure that you keep that, between us, as an example? So,
Yes, John, you're on the ball. So, attorney-client privilege is at the core of an attorney's ethical responsibility. So, even as a potential client, any information shared in confidence between an attorney and client is privileged, and that's a sacred privilege. Now, in terms of NDAs and whatnot, there's always a standard sort of, not necessarily an NDA, but in the engagement letter that, between the attorney and the client, there's always some kind of a confidentiality agreement made in there. So that's essentially an NDA for all practical purposes. NDAs are commonplace in certain industries, and they're handled on a case by case basis. But that being said, the confidentiality is paramount in all of these cases. It's the highest level, and it needs to be. That's what preserves trade secrets. That's what preserves the validity of patents, because they've been the knowledge is introduced early. That's sort of the idea, is you introduce the knowledge early enough that it's new and novel, and no one's ever thought of it before, no one's ever done it before. Now
mm,
you get, that's what gives you that right, that patent right. So it's all part of the story. And I would just say that um, it's important to trust your attorney. It's important to have a good relationship with your attorney, and to understand these things, and to understand the nature of what it is, and which is extreme confidentiality. To like, think of a lockbox at Fort Knox. Like, this is higher than that. This is ethical boundaries that cannot be crossed, in my mind.
neat, neat. They say, or I've said plenty of times on this show and on LinkedIn and stuff. I always say a business owner or an executive leadership team, to have a great attorney, have a great CPA, and a great commercial banker, selfishly, I think is a three-pronged approach, especially in that small to medium-sized business. When you get up to the hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, a lot of times you form different silo teams, and there's attorneys on staff and all that type of stuff. But as you're growing your business, and especially someone that may be entering the development space, or patent space, or copyright space, again, great attorney, great CPA, and great commercial banker to help them grow with capital and access and all that type of stuff. So, well, neat. I mean, obviously you've shared with us quite a bit of your journey and how you've been able to develop and those types of areas. One of the things that we always are very interested in is, as a partner, I'm assuming you get a lot of contact with junior partners, with associates, with admin. What is the way that you have developed your leadership skills, or what are some things, maybe a couple of things that stand out for you in those interactions?
Sure. So leadership is a very important aspect of being an attorney, and especially in litigation. You're leading teams, you're working with a lot of junior attorneys and other staff, and you have to be able to lead and manage teams as a senior attorney, as a partner. So what I've seen is tremendous leadership in some regard, especially from my experience. I've seen leadership on the highest level, leading massive teams. So I've been sort of in every step of the stage. I've moved my way forward. I started off as a scientific advisor. So I was sort of a staff member myself. And then I moved up to an associate once I did my law degree at Fordham at nighttime while working during the day.
Mm.
And and then I I now have the privilege now of becoming a partner at this firm. And as such, I do work with associates and whatnot. And the beauty of it is that I can lead teams now. And as a person who values people at their core, not just for what they can do, but who they are as people. And I, that's what my belief is: true leadership with a capital L, is to see beyond the the actual tasks and to see into a person and to address their needs and their personal journey and who they are and what they stand for and what they mean and their purpose. And again, that to me is the win-win, because that's all I want for me and that's all I want for you, John.
Neat, neat. No, it's really awesome. And I think as an entrepreneur inside of a firm, you're really kind of detailing what it takes, right? Ownership mentality, fortitude to be able to learn through different stages, right? As you said, you came in as a scientific type of person and, battled to get your Ph.D., which is a very rare thing, right? In academics. I mean, not a lot of people have their Ph.D., so that's pretty awesome. And you've kind of forged your way throughout the years. I love on my phone now you come up with your ski gear and stuff. I think that's ski gear, right, that you're having on. So you have a personality outside of being an attorney, which is really cool too. So how we end our interviews, and our CEO community is very fond of this, is C in CEO is for customer experience or client experience. E is for engagement, and O is for operational excellence for CEO. So if you think about 30 to 60 seconds, right, truly what is the value proposition for client experience?
The value proposition for client experience is threefold. One, dollars. Adding value through finances has to be. Two, emotional. Connecting to them on an emotional level to satisfy their need. And three, professionalism at its finest, so that there is nothing, again, nothing is unobserved or looked at. No strategy is left unturned. So it's a very specific approach, specific to each case. And the client experience is paramount. It's just paramount. We want a happy client. That's always the goal. And sometimes we refer people out. That's very common, but we want the client to be satisfied at the end of the day. That's client satisfaction is part of our business motto. So CEO, we care and we are energetic and we are optimistic. How about
There
that?
you go. I love my acronyms. I'm John the Bomb for that reason, right? Building others means business.
I like the
Awesome,
threes too. Threes.
awesome, awesome. Well, E is for engagement, right? So obviously, Benjamin, you have a unique personality, right? You've created yourself into an entrepreneur, affectionately. Um, what are some of the reasons, maybe two or three reasons that people want to engage with you?
Well, I appreciate the question. One is I'm pretty likable. No,
Good.
number two is I I just I have great knowledge and experience, and I have a lot to bring to the table. So I'm likable, and I have the chops, and I have the technical skills, and so it's all there. And so I think that's what people like, is that it's sort of a one-stop shop. They
Yeah,
could come to me, and I could then give them a lot of help, and they didn't even know it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, engagement is huge, right? I used to call it employee engagement, but really engagement is your vendors, your clients, your colleagues, your subordinates. I mean, you have to be aware of how people engage with you, and everybody's such a different personality, right? So you have to be very aware and self-aware, as they call the EQ, IQ side of things, right? So neat, neat. So operational excellence. I know we didn't touch too much on this, but as your firm, is one of the top ones in the industry, what are some things that you guys use, without giving away all your secrets, but what are some operating tools, some mechanisms you've been able to kind of develop throughout the years? A lot of times people, maybe use old school, note taking. They feel now comfortable with technology, scribing for them. There's some AI things that are coming into your space and our spaces. So, what are some tools as far as operations that you feel, are making a difference in your career?
A lot of note taking, a lot. Um, on top of that, we use many tools. We use certain tools that are available that help with certainly legal software and IP software, and some of them have AI integrated in them now at this point, and so it's all available to us, and we use it on an as needed or appropriate basis. Um, of course, we're not using AI to draft anything or do anything like that. That's never do that. Um, we are we're using tools that are sort of built for the patent marketplace, that are specific to the legal industry, and we yeah, as a top competitor in the market, we really pride ourselves on staying up to date, and we are updating our services as we need to. We update our software, we update all of our software keeps everything confidential, and it's a very sophisticated system. And the truth is that most of the techniques are just kind of very old school, you might say. We respond, personally, I respond immediately to emails. I take notes profusely on when I'm talking, when people are talking about their cases, or what they're working on. So we have a very strong organized note-taking ability, both digitally and by hand. So it's multitude of tools and techniques, but the main one is, nowadays everything is organized via sort of let's say Microsoft Outlook, and the Microsoft Suite has a lot of great techniques and tools that are now, of course, all integrated. But it's not really a secret. It's just like basically common sense and service with a smile.
I love it. I love it. What a great way to end it, right? I mean, service with a smile, and people feel that, right? Through the phone, through a Zoom call, through, breaking bread for lunch or breakfast. These are different, opportunities to really kind of showcase and shine. So thank you so much for, coming on the Go for CEO channel, Benjamin. As an entrepreneur, I affectionately call that, because I really feel there's such value, right? When you're within a corporation, within a firm, within a company, that really you bring a ton of value and you deserve to be showcased as well. So any way that you'd like for people to reach out to you, be it LinkedIn or other things, I'll let you kind of share that spot.
Sure, thanks, John. You can reach me on LinkedIn, Benjamin Dash, Dach. You can check out our website, weiss.com, and that's it. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, Thanks so much, Go for CEO community. Another entrepreneur on the channel today. I hope you learned a ton. You know, Benjamin just brings that passion. You saw that his academic skills were through the roof, Ph.D., and you may or may not go that route if you're a young cat or gal that'd like to go through that space, right? There's different ways, and he was amicable, he was amiable, he was changing and evolutionary, evolving, and he made it to where he's at today. So thanks so much, Benjamin. Really appreciate you being on the Go for CEO channel.
Thanks for having me, John. It's been a lot of fun.